Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be going over and talking about the Orioles and Red Sox game 2 of this 4-game series. The Orioles lost today 5-0 to the Red Sox. They got shut out for the 14th time this season. The offense just couldn't really do anything. But Kyle Bradish did go out there today, got through 6 innings, had 10 strikeouts in 6 innings, gave up 2 runs. Both of them were solo homers. But overall, Kyle Bradish looked excellent. He looked like the Kyle Bradish that we know and love with his strikeout numbers at 10 in 6 innings. He was incredible. He's back to be, obviously not 100% back, obviously, because he just came back. But, he's looking like that ace that we know and love him as. Obviously, him and Trevor Rogers potentially to be co-aces going into the 2026 season. But we'll talk about that a little bit more when we go over the Orioles game. But during the Orioles game, the offense just couldn't really do anything. Obviously got shut out for the 14th time this year. Just not a great game overall. The pitching wasn't amazing. Bradish did fine, but the bullpen gave up a couple of runs. Beavers had a really bad error in the in the ninth inning where he dropped the fly ball. It was like a 99% catch probability. He dropped the fly ball. It ended up scoring 2 runs for the Red Sox, so it made it 5-0. But just overall, not like the greatest day for the pitching, but the offense scored 0 runs, so it literally didn't matter what the pitching did in this game. The offense didn't really get on. They had 6 total hits in the game, went like 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. So overall, again, the offense just couldn't do literally anything. They scored 0 runs, so you can't really complain too much about losing, and you can't really complain about your pitching when you lose, when your offense scores 0 runs. So overall, not a great game, but the Orioles have now lost 2 games of this 4-game series. So if they lose tomorrow, they will officially lose the series. But if they win tomorrow, they can make it 2-1, and then the best they could do is split the series 2-2 now. But we've seen that a lot this year. Obviously, we go back to the last series against the Astros, where that was a 4-game series, and the Orioles lost that series 3-1. It's looking like that could potentially happen here against the Red Sox in Baltimore. But overall, whatever. We've seen this so many times this year from the Orioles that it's kind of routine at this point. But it was still cool to see Bradish go out there and do his thing. Also, in this episode, we're going to be going over the Ravens' official 53-man roster. It did get posted like an hour ago, I think. And the rosters had to be set at like 4 p.m. and the Ravens just put theirs out. Obviously, they were like getting the graphic ready and stuff like that. But there were some players that you would have liked to see that got cut. Obviously, the 53-man roster, whenever it gets announced, it is a very, very big deal because, for me, and in my opinion, it's a very big turning point. It's a very big step in the right, step forward in terms of the NFL offseason, and it really shows you how much closer we really are to the NFL happening. Obviously, next Thursday is the opening game, and then next Sunday is the first day the Ravens play. Also, a bunch of other teams play on Sunday as well. But it's going to be fun. Now the sole focus really in training camp and in practice now is solely focused on Buffalo because you have your 53 guys. Like all training camp, you have the group of guys that know they're going to get in, know they're going to be starters, and then you have the group of guys who play a lot in preseason, are really trying a lot in training camp to just make the team. And the Ravens actually had 3 undrafted free agents make the team this year, which was really, really cool to see. One of them was including Jay Higgins, who was one of the best players overall in all of the preseason on defense. He was excellent. He made the team, which I'm so happy for him. He really deserved it. Same thing with Ruben Lowry. They played amazing this preseason, and they ended up getting in. Same thing with LeJohntay Wester. He also got in. Just kind of looking at a bunch of these undrafted. LeJohntay wasn't undrafted, but just looking at some of these late-round rookies and undrafted rookies that got in. It's a super cool moment for them. But also, roster cut day is a very stressful moment. Very stressful and emotional day for a lot of people because there's a lot of people and a lot of potential veterans and undrafted free agents and late-round rookies that could potentially not have a job because of this. And, it's cut players, you know what I mean? It's it's fighting for roster spots, it's fighting for a spot on the team, and that's pretty much what all of training camp is for the most part. But now that the Ravens know their official 53-man roster heading into the 2025-2026 season, They know their guys. There's going to be a lot less people at training camp because you kind of, obviously released and waived a bunch of these guys already, so they're not going to be there. But you have your 53 guys. You have your team set and ready to go entering the season. So now your sole focus is making sure you're ready to play, ready to go when you go out and play the Bills next Sunday. So all the practices leading up to, obviously, our first game is going to be related to the Bills and making sure we're prepared as much as we can to face them. And then, obviously, after the Bills, then you have the Browns, then you have the Lions, then you have the Chiefs, and you go on and on and on throughout the season. And that's where the beauty of football really lies, is making sure you're prepared for these teams, showing the what you're able to do to prepare for certain players on teams, certain defenses, certain reads, certain quarterbacks, all that type of stuff. And that's where the coaching staff is going to have to go and put in that work. But overall, the Ravens got their 53-man roster. It is set. It is ready to go. And it's about that time. It's about that time for football season. Obviously, the next thing in line right now for the Ravens, and the next thing that we're looking forward to, is obviously the Week 1 Sunday Night Football game against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. A big vengeance game. Obviously, they were the team that sent us home last year in the playoffs. And we're playing them Week 1 Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a very exciting start to the year. I cannot wait for that. Cannot wait to, recap NFL games with you guys. Cannot wait to go over all the bits and details of everything Ravens related in terms of in-season content. It's going to be a ton of fun. So make sure you don't miss out on that. But as we kind of head towards NFL season, now that the 53-man roster is set and ready to go, obviously anything that comes out of training camp we're going to talk about. But starting next week, when it is officially game week, I'm going to be going over some stuff to look forward to towards the game, some things that we should watch out for, some things that we should know heading into that game. We're kind of going to go over that in some episodes, along with the Orioles content as well. But Ravens 53-man roster is here. Every team's 53-man roster is here, and we're set and ready to go. And it's about that time. It's really about that time for football season here in less than 2 weeks, and I cannot wait for that. But let's just go over this Orioles game real quick. So going over this Orioles game, obviously the Orioles lose 5-0 to the Boston Red Sox. The Orioles record is now 60-72. They've lost back-to-back games now to the Red Sox. They're down 0-2 in this 4-game series. Back to being 12 games below 500. The Orioles offense didn't score any runs, so there's not really too much to go over in this game regarding the offense. 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position, left 7 guys on base. Jackson Holliday 0 for 3 at the leadoff spot. And Jackson Holliday has been struggling a little bit recently. His average has now dropped to a 242, so that is something to monitor. Again, I was telling people, on Twitter even today, make sure to go follow the Birds of a Feather Twitter account, by the way. But I was telling people on Twitter today, again, guys like Jackson Holliday, guys like Samuel Basayo, people have to understand that these are two of the youngest players in baseball. Basayo is literally the youngest position player in baseball right now, and Jackson Holliday is like one of the youngest players in baseball. This was his first full season. We saw a lot of improvement defensively and offensively, and he, no matter how he ends the season, he took a step in the right direction. Now, obviously, over this next month of baseball, of the next month of the season, because there's only a month left of the year, obviously, I would like to see Jackson Holliday go out there and have some momentum heading into next season. I would like to see him close out this last month well. Over the month of September, I would obviously like to see him get hot. Just have that momentum heading into next year. But recently, Jackson Holliday has not been playing great. It is something to monitor a little bit. His average has gone down quite a bit. It was hovering around like the 260 to 270-ish range most of the year. It is down to a 242 right now. But again, I do believe Jackson Holliday is going to bounce back from this. I do think that he can have a great month of September, carry that over to next year, and even make even more of an improvement next season. Because if you look at what he did last year to what he's done this year, he has made a significant improvement. And I'll talk about Jackson Holliday just for a second here, because a lot of people are worried about him. Guys, he's 21 years old. He was the number 1 prospect in baseball. He was the number 1 overall pick in baseball. This guy is a star for a reason. And if you go back to last season, he played 60 games last year. He had a 189 average through 60 games. And he had, 5 home runs? This year, obviously, he's played pretty much double the games. Has 123 games played. His average is at a 242 with 38 walks, 49 RBIs, 15 home runs. So he's having a solid year. It is a solid season. It's not anything crazy. It's not anything horrible, but he's having a solid year. He's second in home runs on the Orioles, so if that was worth something. But overall, the average really isn't there for Jackson Holliday like you would like it to be, but it's a decent year for him, and for a player who's this young, it is a solid year, and I'm expecting next season for him to get even better, make even more of a leap, maybe end the year out at like a 270, 280 average guy next year is what I'm hoping for, maybe like a 20 to 25 plus home run hitting guy. And as long as Jackson Holliday can keep getting better every single year, eventually he will find his mark, he'll find his prime, and then we'll chill in that area and things will be okay. I just really hope people are not overreacting about Jackson Holliday. I understand he's not playing well, but we got to give these guys some time. Like, this is his first full year in baseball, and I just think that we're trying to rush these guys. Same thing with like Basayo, same thing with Mayo. I just don't think that we should worry too much. I understand that we're going to try and win next year, but we have the pieces and the young talent to be able to win next year while these guys are developing. So I just wanted to put that out there because people on Twitter have been kind of like freaking out and overreacting a little bit. Just want to put that out there that things are going to be okay. Jeremiah Jackson was batting second in this game. He went 1 for 4. Gunnar Henderson went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He ends his 17-game on-base streak. Colton Cowser goes 1 for 4 in this game with 2 strikeouts. Samuel Basayo goes 1 for 4. Kobe Mayo goes 0 for 4. Dylan Beavers goes 1 for 3. But Beavers was like a centimeter or two off of hitting a home run. It was the closest thing you could get to not hitting a home run. It was a double off the wall, off the very tippy top of the wall, out in right field. Almost had a home run, but just barely didn't get one. Beavers 1 for 3. Machine went 0 for 3, and then Austin Jackson went 2 for 3. He actually was the only Oriole with multiple hits in this game, so shout out to Austin Jackson. And also, Basayo was playing first today, and from what I saw, there was really no issue with him playing first. He played it well. He didn't really have to make any crazy plays at first base, but he did his job. He did all the routine things well, so that is a good sign for the future with Basayo, and just showing off his very versatile positions that he can play. Obviously catcher, first, and he can DH whenever he needs to as well. So that was cool to see Basayo play first, and he did a fine job at it as well. But going over to the Orioles pitching, Kyle Bradish did unfortunately get credited the loss in this game in his first start back. He made his return from Tommy John surgery. He hasn't pitched in a long time. It was a long recovery. It's been over a year since he's last pitched. But again, Tommy John, this is what it does. It is a surgery that is a super long recovery time for pitchers. Especially for pitchers. But Kyle Bradish in this game got through 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 0 walks, 2 runs, had 10 strikeouts, and the 2 runs that he gave up were solo home runs to David Hamilton and Trevor Story. A 3 flat ERA in his first start, 81 pitches through 6 innings. Not horrible at all. Not a bad start by any means. I would even say that it's good. This was a quality start. 6 innings, 2 runs, 10 strikeouts. You'll take that every single day of the week from Kyle Bradish. Unfortunately, the offense could not help him out at all. I mean, we scored 0 runs. We didn't help Kyle Bradish out at all. But Kyle Bradish, again, great game today. Got through 6 innings in his first game back, which is a really good sign. I was thinking that we might limit him a little bit, and obviously, getting through 6 innings, giving up 2 runs is not bad at all. Whether he was his first game back from Tommy John or just a random start, whatever. This start in general was not bad, but for it to be his first start back makes it even more impressive, and the fact that he was able to rack up 10 strikeouts in this game was even more impressive as well. So shout out to Kyle Bradish. He played a great game today. He did get credited the loss. Unfortunately, the Orioles offense was not able to help him out, but he did well. Keegan Aiken didn't give up a hit, run, walk, anything like that. Keegan Aiken was perfect in his inning. And then Geraldo got through 1.1 innings, gave up 4 hits and 3 runs. 2 of those runs were because of a dropped fly ball by Dylan Beavers, so I'm not going to blame Geraldo for 2 of those runs, even though it does count against him. It really was Dylan Beavers' fault. He dropped a very routine fly ball. I'm not going to sit here and defend Dylan Beavers on that. He's in the big leagues. He's a big boy. He can we can go out there and put pressure on these guys, because again, these guys are in the big leagues. They understand that. Just a dropped routine fly ball by Dylan Beavers. Again, it happens to the best of them. Kind of like a welcome to the big league moment for Dylan Beavers there as well. But Geraldo does get charged with it. So Dylan Beavers definitely owes Geraldo dinner tonight for that dropped fly ball. It makes his ERA go down quite a bit, sitting at a 5.65 ERA now for Geraldo. It was already a pretty bad ERA to begin with, but Dylan Beavers definitely needs to get him a gift or something, because those runs were definitely, all those runs, or two of them, were definitely not his fault. And then Yenir Cano came in, didn't give up a run. But overall, the pitching was okay. 2 of the 5 runs scored were, again, off of a very bad error by Dylan Beavers. Kyle Bradish only gave up 2, had 10 strikeouts, got through 6 innings. You take that every single day of the week. And then going over to tomorrow's game, tomorrow the Orioles play pretty much at the same time. It is undecided who the pitcher is going to be. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing tomorrow with the pitcher. You would think that it's maybe Tomoyuki Sagano. Actually, no, he pitched yesterday. I'm an idiot. Who would be next for tomorrow? Now that I'm thinking about it, who would be next for tomorrow? Well, we had Sagano. We had Trevor Rogers just pitched here. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure who we're going to have tomorrow. We might have a bullpen game tomorrow. I don't know. I don't really know what is going to happen tomorrow for the Orioles pitching, but it is going to be Brian Bayo for the Red Sox. He's had an incredible year, so it's going to be a very tough matchup, and it's going to be even more tough of a matchup this Thursday when we play Garrett Crochet. So the Orioles are into some very deep water here in the next 2 games, and they could very well get swept here against the Red Sox. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but the Red Sox 2 best pitchers are going to be pitching the next 2 games, so we'll see what happens with that. I know on Thursday we have Cade Povich. I don't know what we're going to have tomorrow. We'll figure that out, but again, we'll go over games tomorrow. We'll go over the game tomorrow when we get there. So now switching things up and going over to the Ravens 53-man roster. We have it all pulled up right here, the full 53-man roster in the flesh. And if you see Isaiah Likely there on the tight end list, he did not get put on the injured reserve. He did not get put on any sort of list to start the year. So that means that Isaiah Likely is available to play in the Ravens' first 4 games of the season. We're not going to put him on the injured list. Obviously, he had that foot surgery earlier on in the training camp. He's been recovering well, apparently, from what we've heard. John Harbaugh doesn't want to speak too much on it because he's trying to maybe hide his availability going into week 1, kind of throwing the Bills off a little bit. Will Isaiah Likely play week 1? If I was a betting man, I would say no. But the fact that he is not on the list, which is kind of obvious, Isaiah Likely should hopefully be ready to go weeks 2 or 3. But I just don't know if he's going to be available out there week 1. If anything, I kind of don't want him to play week 1 because I just want him to be 100% available for the rest of the games. I don't want it to be any sort of risk playing him week 1 when we could 100% win against the Bills without Isaiah Likely as well. I'd also give Mark Andrews his moment to go out there and get a big revenge game on Buffalo. But Isaiah Likely, I don't think he's going to play week 1. He is available to play week 1, he would be able to play week 1. There's no limit on that. But I just don't know if we're actually going to do it. I think we're going to play him probably weeks 2 or 3. Maybe week 3 is the more realistic timeline. But we'll see what happens with that. Again, Isaiah Likely is going to be a very important part of this Ravens offense. He's really going to be like an X factor in a way as well. Guys like Derrick Henry, guys like Zay Flowers, we know those guys are going to be big producers for Lamar Jackson this season. But Isaiah Likely, his connection with Lamar Jackson last year, and the times that he threw it to him were elite. And obviously John Harbaugh gave Isaiah Likely the all-pro expectations this year. So there's very big expectations for Isaiah Likely. And even in training camp, whenever he was out there, whenever he was healthy, he was used quite a lot. And going over to the rest of the positions, because again, this is the full 53-man roster. I'm going to start real quick with the injured reserve list, which is Adisa Isaac. He will be out for at least the first 4 games. The reserve / non-football injury is Emory Jones, and then the physically unable to play is Darius Washington. So those guys could potentially come back some point in the year. I expect Adisa and Emory to come back sometime soon. But pretty much this 53-man roster is what we have. This is the full team. Again, Adisa, Isaac, Emery, Jones aren't going to make too much of a difference down the line. But this 53-man roster, everyone is pretty much healthy, obviously, except for Isaiah Likely. But he's still going to be available within the first 3 to 4 weeks of the Ravens season, so we don't have to worry about him down the line. At least this is an early injury, not something that's going to happen later on. But going over, obviously, quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Cooper Rush. We knew this. We cut Devin Leary today, which was kind of obvious. Devin Leary was pretty garbage for the Ravens in the time he played last year in the preseason and this year in the preseason. He was very, very, very bad, and he's gone. So we're going to go into the season with 2 quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Cooper Rush. Hopefully, we don't have to worry about Cooper Rush. Hopefully it is just Lamar Jackson. But again, Cooper Rush should be one of the better backups in the league. But I just think in the type of offense that the Ravens have, I just don't think it fully brings out Cooper Rush's potential. But if we get to the point in the season where Cooper Rush is going to be playing meaningful games, then we are in trouble, is all I'm going to say. So hopefully number 8 stays healthy. Lamar Jackson, as we know, he is the guy around here. So we don't have to worry about Cooper Rush too much, but it is going to be them two at quarterback. Running back, what's very, very interesting with running back is the Ravens are actually going out there this year with 4 running backs on their roster. Patrick Ricard obviously is the fullback of this team, elite player as we know, or elite fullback as we know. But obviously the running backs, and I'm just going to say them in order of, because they have them in order of number. I'm just going to say them in order of where they would be on the depth chart. Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, Rasheen Ali. So shout out to Rasheen Ali. He played great in this preseason. Played very, very, very well. He even played good in last year's preseason as well. But Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, Rasheen Ali, very similar to what we had last year. It's cool to see us running out there with 4 running backs, and 4 running backs that can do damage, obviously, in the regular season. As we know, Derrick Henry's going to get most of the work. Justice Hill's going to be that receiving back type of player. Keaton Mitchell's going to be that very quick guy who can get a few carries a game maybe and go crazy with it and potentially have home run power. But we'll see or home run, you know what I mean. Home run power in terms of running the ball. Very, very quick player. Someone who can rip off a 70-yard run anytime, any place. And then Rasheen Ali was a very good power back as well. So overall, the Ravens running back room is good, but it also has versatile depth in terms of what they're good at, which is a very important thing with running backs and receivers and just position players in general. But speaking of wide receivers, going over to the receivers, and this is the exact list that we expected going into the year. It is going to be Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Tylan Wallace, Devontae Walker, and LeJohntay Wester, all there for receivers. So 6 receivers for the Ravens: Zay, Rashad, D-Hop, 1 through 3, and then obviously you have Tylan and Devontae Walker kind of, fighting for wide receiver 4, and then LeJohntay Wester is wide receiver 5 or 6. So LeJohntay Wester is going to be used a lot in kickoff return as well, going to be a special teams player, but somebody who has potential to be great. Obviously, we look back at the game 1 of the preseason where he had that kick return touchdown, which is really cool to see. But overall, receivers are looking good. Love to see D-Hop there. Love to see Bateman there. Love to see Zay there. Love to see everybody healthy and ready to go. But it's going to be a ton of fun this year, as we know. Tight ends: Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kolar, as we know. Isaiah Likely dealing with that injury. Is he going to play week 1? I don't know. Probably not. We'll see. But Charlie Kolar is somebody who we've talked about a little bit before, but he has been playing a pretty big role for the Ravens in training camp, whether that's blocking or whether that's receiving. He's had a role for the Ravens, and we know how much Lamar Jackson loves his tight ends, so it'll be very, very interesting to see if how much of a role Charlie Kolar plays, especially when Isaiah Likely is hurt. I'm sure he's going to have more of a role in the first couple of games if Isaiah's not playing. But even when Isaiah's out there, I think Kolar can be a very good guy just to go out there, run a 3 tight end set, blocking for Derrick Henry. We saw that quite a bit this past year, and it worked very well. So we hope to see it even more this year. On the O-line, I'm just going to kind of go over the starters. Obviously, you have Tyler Linderbaum at center. You've got Ben Cleveland backup, Corey Bullock backup, Joseph Noteboom backup, and then Carson Venison backup. And then you're starting. We talked about this before, but Tyler Linderbaum obviously going to be playing center. Ronnie Stanley left tackle. Andrew Voorhees left guard, Falele right guard, and then Rosengard right tackle. So overall, the line is set and ready to go. Obviously, everybody has their questions about Daniel Falele because of how he played this training camp, but the coaches have their trust in him. The coaches have their trust. So at the end of the day, all we can really do is trust them with their word moving on to the season. Going over the defensive line, we got John Jenkins, we got Nnamdi Madubuike, Aeneas Peebles, Broderick Washington, and Travis Jones. And from what we've heard throughout training camp, obviously we know Nnamdi Madubuike is an elite defensive tackle, but from what we've heard, Peebles and Travis Jones have been excellent for the Ravens in this training camp, so that's very good news to hear. Going over to the linebackers, obviously you got Roquan Smith, Trenton Simpson, Jake Hummel, Teddy Buchanan, Mike Green, Jay Higgins, Kyle Van Noy, David Ajabo, Tavius Robinson, and Odafe Owe. The big impact players here are obviously Roquan Smith, Mike Green, Kyle Van Noy, Odafe Owe. Potentially David Ajabo can make some noise. Obviously Jay Higgins as well. Higgins played incredible for the Ravens in their preseason games. He was he was the highest rated, I think, rookie linebacker of any rookie linebacker that played throughout the preseason. So he was incredible. Excited to see what Jay Higgins can do in the little amount of snaps he's going to get this year. But to see Odafe Owe out there as, an edge rusher, to see Calvin Noy out there, to see Mike Green out there, those three guys edge rushing can cause some serious noise. And if Mike Green is everything that he's as advertised as on the football field, which is an elite player, we saw how hard he worked this offseason. We saw how good he was in the little snaps he got in the preseason. And the reason why he didn't get a lot of snaps preseason is because we know how valuable he's going to be regular season wise. I think he's like top 4, top 5 in defensive rookie of the year odds. He's somebody that can make a lot of noise, and he's somebody that can be like a premier edge rusher in the NFL. So we'll see what happens this year in his rookie year. I'm super excited for that. Going over to the DBs, you got Nate Wiggins, you got Chidobe Awuzie, you've got Jair Alexander, you've got TJ Tampa, you've got Marlon Humphrey, you've got Ruben Lowry. I'm just naming all the corners right now. And then at safety, obviously you've got Kyle Hamilton, Malachi Starks, Keon Martin, all these guys like that. So overall, the defensive backs are looking stacked. And Chuck Pagano, who was recently on the Pat McAfee show for a few years, he used to coach in the NFL. Obviously, he was the former Colts head coach. He worked with the Ravens a long time ago. He said that this is the best secondary he's ever been a part of. Obviously, when you have guys, though, like Nate Wiggins and Awuzie and Hamilton and Jair and Malachi and Marlon Humphrey, when you have guys like that, this secondary is arguably the best secondary in the NFL. The Ravens obviously have one of the better defenses in the NFL in general, but overall, this offense and this team looks so unbelievably polished and good and ready to go. And then obviously at special teams, you got Jordan Stout, the punter, you got Tyler Loop, and you got Nick Moore. Those three are going to be running it out there. Obviously, Stout and Moore were there last year with Tucker, but now it is Tyler Loop season. But overall, this roster looks extremely good to me. This is everything I wanted to see. In terms of like potential cut players that I was hoping that was on this team, I was really hoping to see guys like Jay Higgins and Ruben Lowry and Keon Martin on this team, and they are all here. All three of those guys were undrafted free agents, and they all made the roster very deservingly for all of them. So that was really cool to see. And other than that, everybody that I wanted to see on the team is here. And now the sights are set for Week 1 in Buffalo. The sights are set on the Super Bowl at the end of the year. And this might be the Super Bowl winning team, obviously, as we know. This Ravens team is hunting a Super Bowl. That is the goal of this Ravens team, is to win a Super Bowl. Every single team has their own goals. Not every single team's goal is to win the Super Bowl. You have teams like the Browns and the Titans and the Saints and teams like that they understand that they're not good teams. They understand that they're kind of looking towards the draft and focusing on player development. This Ravens team is out to hunt. This Ravens team is on a Super Bowl run, much like teams like the Bills, much like teams like the Lions. These are teams that are elite, have a lot of depth up and down, very elite teams. And the Ravens obviously have the second best Super Bowl odds in the NFL heading into the year, right behind the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Chiefs and the Ravens are tied at second, and then the Eagles have the best odds. So, again, this Ravens team has expectations. They have expectations to win the Super Bowl. And just like it was last year,
this year is Super Bowl or bust. The past 2 years have been Super Bowl or bust, and there's no change in it this year. If this team doesn't win a Super Bowl, if this team doesn't make a Super Bowl, you're kind of gonna have that empty feeling in your stomach, because sooner or later, Lamar Jackson and all the talent on this team are gonna have to make it to the big game, and it just hasn't happened yet due to very unfortunate scenarios in the playoffs. Obviously, fumbles and interceptions and just stuff that's happened in the playoffs that's horrifically and just nightmarish. But this could be the year. This 100% could be the year. There's a lot of people picking the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. They did that last year, and we know what happened. But this year, this team got even better compared to last year. This team is so much better than it was last year. Not so much better, but it's a lot better than it was last year. Obviously, adding, the undrafted free agents, adding the drafted guys you have, guys like Malachi Starks, guys like Mike Green. Those guys can make an instant impact on this team. The undrafted free agents that played really good in preseason, they can make an impact in the snaps that they get. And then obviously the veterans that you sign, and Jair Alexander and Chidobe Awuzie and DeAndre Hopkins, those guys can make a difference as well. From front to back, this team has so much depth. They know what their goal is. They know what they have their eyes set on. And it doesn't matter how stacked the roster is, man. They got to go out there and execute. There's not going to be a lot of excuses to lose games this year. This Ravens team should go into every single game thinking that they have a chance to win, because they do. They have a chance to go 17-0. They have a chance to win every single game they play this year. But they just have to go out there and actually do it. I'm not saying for them to go 17-0. Obviously, we know the playoffs are where it's most important. But again, winning the division, getting to the playoffs, and then doing what this team needs to do, and that's to dominate in the playoffs, go to the Super Bowl, and win the Lombardi Trophy, hold it up, and have that parade in the city of Baltimore. That's what this team needs, and it's about damn time for it to happen, and they got to go out there and execute. It doesn't matter how stacked this team is if they don't go out there and win the whole thing. And again, Ravens fans and just fans of the NFL in general are going to have very big expectations for this team. And we'll see how they respond to this pressure and respond to the expectations that they have. Lamar Jackson and guys have come up and said the same thing about it doesn't matter how stacked it is. They got to go out there and execute. They got to go out there and perform. And I just cannot wait for this Ravens season. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. I know this episode was a little bit longer than usual, but obviously there was a lot to go over, the Orioles game and the full Ravens 53-man roster. It's a very exciting day for Baltimore sports, other than the Orioles losing, but getting Cal Bradish back was really good. Seeing the full Ravens 53-man roster was really good. And we're ready to go for Ravens season. We're happy that Cal Bradish is back and overall things are looking well. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, make sure to follow the Twitter and the Instagram as well. It's going to be the link in the bio of whatever platform you're listening on. So make sure to go check that out. Again, I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. I love you guys so much. This upcoming Ravens season is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see a lot of production changes with the podcast. It's going to be very fun. I'm hoping to maybe get a camera soon. Hoping to maybe get a new mic soon, and just overall a more professional setup for this podcast. But I appreciate you guys for sticking with me throughout this whole thing. I promise you, it's going to be worth it. And again, thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You have a great sales day. Go O's, go Ravens, and I'll see you all later. Peace out.